The company with 92% of the world's most advanced logic chip capacity, TSMC, is slowly moving out of Taiwan, abandoning its fortress island. But there's a reason far darker than most people realize. Before we expose everything, subscribe to the channel for the latest technological videos. The Silicon Empire. Right now, you are probably watching this video on a device that is powered by a TSMC chip. Your iPhone, made by TSMC, is running the most powerful AI in the world. TSMC, the most advanced military hardware on Earth, is also made by TSMC. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company produces over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. They are not 10% in the game, not 50%, but more than 90%. To put things into perspective, Saudi Arabia controls roughly 13% of global oil production, and we call it a strategic choke point. TSMC is a monopoly that makes OPEC look like a neighboring lemonade stand. But this power did not come to them by accident. In the 1980s, when most companies were still figuring out what semiconductors even were, TSMC had a huge bad day and invested billions of dollars into chip manufacturing at a time when it seemed crazy to most investors. TSMC pioneered something revolutionary called the foundry model, where instead of designing and making their own chip, they would manufacture chips that were designed by other companies. From the business standpoint, Apple designs the chip, but TSMC builds it. Nvidia creates the blueprint for its chips, but TSMC makes it real. The same is true for AMD and many other companies. This model gives TSMC scale and expertise that nobody else could match. Couple it up with their cutting-edge machines that almost no one can recreate, and they have absolute dominance. Each TSMC factory costs upward of $20 billion to build. And these are not just buildings with some expensive equipment. We are talking about the most expensive, most complex manufacturing facilities in the history of mankind. The machines inside use ultraviolet light to etch circuits just 5 nm wide. And now they are looking for even smaller chips. You can think about it as the size of a strand of dinar. A single speck of dirt can destroy an entire batch of chips that are worth millions of dollars. So, if a company has been doing well for decades, why are they moving away from the homeland, which gave them so much strategic benefit in the first place? Let's discover the Taiwan problem. Taiwan problem. As time passes, things get much more uncomfortable. Almost all of the TSMC factories sit on an island that is smaller than almost all of the SMC's factories. They are on a small island less than 100 miles from mainland China. What's worse is that China has made it crystal clear that they are coming for Taiwan, and they see it as a breakaway province that will eventually return to Chinese control. Not might return, but will return. Look at the map. TSMC has 15 factories in Taiwan that are mostly along the western coast directly facing China. When Chinese military jets conduct drills around Taiwan, they'll fly, and they are flying right over the areas where your next phone's processor might be manufactured. This geographic concentration keeps a defense official up at night, because if China decided to make a move on Taiwan, whether through invasion, blockade, or even military pressure, the global economy doesn't just take a hit, it will completely collapse. Some analysts have already been estimating that a conflict over Taiwan would cause the global economy to lose somewhere between $600 billion and over $1 trillion annually for the first few years. This is just a small estimate. We're not talking about the recession. We're talking about a complete breakdown of the technology supply chain that runs everything from smartphones to fighter jets to hospital equipment. Warren Buffett figured it out pretty quickly in 2092. He bought billions of dollars of TSMC stock. 3 months later, he sold it. When people asked him why, he said it was due to geopolitical concerns. When someone as big as Warren Buffett says that the risk is too much, everyone should be paying attention. That means tension is brewing somewhere. TSMC's shield. What's crazy is that some people also argue that TSMC actually protects Taiwan. There is this concept called the silicon shield theory. The logic goes like this. China needs TSMC's chip. America needs TSMC's chip. The whole world needs their chips, so nobody is going to let anything happen to Taiwan, because the whole world is depending on those factories to stay operational. TSMC's former chairman, Mark Liu, said it himself in an interview. He said nobody can control TSMC by force. If you take military action or invasion, you will render TSMC factories non-operable. The factories are delicate, but the global supply chain's dependency on these factories is huge, so any military conflict would actually destroy them. This sounds reassuring, right? Because Taiwan is too valuable to accept its attack. Except there is a huge problem with this theory. China's decision to invade Taiwan wouldn't just be based on economics. It would be based on nationalism, ideology, and on what the Chinese Communist Party sees fit as history goes on. The Chinese president has made reunification with Taiwan a core part of his legacy. When you're talking about national pride and political legitimacy, economic costs take a huge backseat. Here's the really scary part. Some US national security experts have openly discussed destroying TSMC factories themselves if China invades, just to prevent those capabilities from falling into Chinese hands. Robert O'Brien, who is the former national security advisor under President Trump, compared it to when Britain destroyed the French fleet in World War II to keep it out of German hands. Just think about it for a second. The US might blow up the world's most important factory to deny it to an adversary. It just means Taiwan is unable to even defend itself or feel calm. Now, TSMC is moving with its own strategy that is shocking the world, just as it will shock us right now. But before we talk about TSMC's great decoupling, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell icon for more videos like these. Decoupling. So what's the solution here? If you're TSMC, you do something that goes against every business instinct you have. You take your own crown jewels and you spread them around the world by building copies of some of the most advanced factories in other countries, even though it's going to cost way more money and create way more headaches. This is exactly what is happening now. TSMC is in the middle of something massive, and now they are going for multi-continent expansion that is going to reshape the world in ways we never thought would even happen. Firstly, let's start with Arizona. TSMC is building not one, nor two, but 3 massive fabrication plants in Phoenix, Arizona. The total investment is over $65 billion, and it is the largest foreign direct investment in a greenfield project in United States history. The first factory started mass production of 4nm chips in late 2024. The second factory is scheduled to come online in 2028 and will produce 3nm and even 2nm chips that will use the most cutting-edge technology available. Then, we will see the third plant pushing A16 technology by the end of the decade, producing 1.6nm chips. When all of these factories are up and running, TSMC plans to have 30% of the world's most advanced chip capacity in Arizona itself. That's a massive shift from anything we've seen in Taiwan. Next up is Japan, where the expansion tells a different story. The company opened its first factory in Kumamoto in late 2024, and it's actually been relatively smoother compared to Arizona. The Kumamoto factory is in collaboration with Sony, Denso, and Toyota, and it produces 22nm, 16nm, and 12nm processors. These aren't cutting-edge chips like what will happen in Arizona, but they are crucial for automotive applications, image sensors, and even industrial equipment. Why did they choose Japan? Well, for a few reasons. Japan already has a strong semiconductor ecosystem left from when Japanese companies dominated the industry in the 1980s and 1990s. The Kumamoto region was also known as Silicon Island. It has the infrastructure, supplies, and people who understand the industry. TSMC is planning a second factory here that will produce a 6nm chip, with production expected to start in 2027. Then there's Germany, and in August 2024, TSMC broke ground on the first European factory in Dresden, Germany. The Dresden factory is called the Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or SMC. It will produce 28nm, 22nm, and 16 to 12nm FinFET technology when it opens in 2027. Like Japan, these aren't bleeding-edge, cutting-edge chip numbers, but they are crucial for automotive and industrial applications. Germany is also providing 5 billion euros in subsidies, half of the total cost. The European Union has already approved this under the special status of state aid rules because they see it as strategically critical. Europe wants to produce 20% of the world's semiconductors by 2030, up from less than 10% that they are doing now. This region is also a smart choice that has a long semiconductor history dating back to East German times. Companies like Bosch and Infineon have already established facilities there, so the ecosystem already exists. The factory is expected to create 2,000 high-tech jobs directly and tens of thousands more in the supply chain. Construction is already well underway, with the structural build process and equipment move-in scheduled for late 2026. Expansion economics. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. All of the overseas factories are losing money, like massive amounts of money. By TSMC's own financial disclosure, the Arizona factory has accumulated losses of about $1.2 billion over just 4 years. The Kumamoto factory lost $248 million over the 3 years. Even the German factory, which has just started construction, has already racked up $15.6 million in losses. Compare that to the TSMC factory in Nanjing, China, which has generated over $2 billion in profit over the past 3 years. That's just crazy. TSMC's CEO also admitted that establishing the Arizona plant has taken twice as long as similar factories in Taiwan. The company estimated that making the chip in the United States costs at least 50% more than making it in Taiwan. So why do it? Because TSMC doesn't really have a choice. Their customers are demanding it. The US government is demanding it. The risk of having everything in Taiwan has become too great, so they must take this route. Apple, Nvidia, AMD, and all of TSMC's biggest competitors want to reduce their exposure to geopolitical risks, and the chip subsidies help offset some of the cost. Even with billions of dollars in government support, these factories are still losing money. Some analysts even worry that TSMC's expansion actually creates a window of opportunity for China. Strike before the Silicon Shield completely dissolves. Before the West has built up enough alternative capacity, there is even speculation that 2027 might be the year of China's attack on Taiwan. Do you think TSMC's future is bright, or will they get sucked into the geopolitical risks all around that are known in the comments down below? If you want more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell icon to stay up to date.